He's a hard-drinking, hard-charging leatherneck with a penchant for ladies' fashion and lifestyle magazines. That's right, today we're going to look at the life, campaigns, and most importantly, the medals of Gung-Ho Gunnery Sergeant Highway. Brace yourself, because this man has more medals than Rambo. Unless I'm going to do Soviet forces, I don't think I'll find any other character that's going to have so many gongs. Gunnery Sergeant Tom Highway's ribbon bar shows 21 medal types or ribbon variations in total. These are 5 gallantry, commendation or achievement medals, 5 campaign, service or expeditionary medals, 2 good conduct or wound medals, 5 citations or ribbons, 3 foreign medals, and 1 foreign citation. Many of these medal types are denoted by stars as multiple awards of the same medal. It's pretty complex, so we shall break it down as we go into each medal. According to the movie, Gunnery Sergeant Tom Highway had spent a total of 24 years in the Marine Corps before being able to wrangle a transfer back to his old unit, 2nd Recon Battalion of the 2nd Marine Division. Set in 1983, that would make Highway enlisting in the Marines around 1959. Prior to serving in the Marines, we know Gunny Highway served in the Army in the Korean War between 1950 and 1953. It's unclear if he was drafted or volunteered for service, but I would assume at some point after the Korean War ended, he left, returned to civilian life, then re-enlisted a few years later in the US Marines. Medal number 1, the Medal of Honor. The highest award for gallantry in the United States Armed Forces, it's the equivalent of the British Victoria Cross. The medal itself differs by branch. As we shall see, Highway conducted the action he was awarded for in the Army, so he would have been awarded that version, which is a gold 5-pointed star surrounded by a green laurel wreath and suspended from a gold bar inscribed Valor, surmounted by an eagle. In the centre of the star, Minerva's head is surrounded by the words United States of America. On each ray of the star is a green oak leaf. On the reverse is engraved the Congress to, with the space for engraving the name of the recipient. The ribbon is pale blue, displaying 13 white stars. In recent years, I believe, a Medal of Honor flag is also presented to the recipient, or if posthumous, their next of kin. During the Korean War, 146 Medals of Honor were awarded. It's at the Battle of Heartbreak Ridge, otherwise known as the Battle of Wendengli, that Highway was awarded the Medal of Honor. This was a brutal month-long battle during the Korean War between September 1951 and October. For this video, I wish to focus on Highway's future campaigns, so for the sake of brevity, we will skip the Korean War. But if you're interested, I've done plenty of videos with the likes of Don Draper, Gunnery Sergeant Hartman and Michael Caine on this topic. If they ever have a Clasp of Courage alumni career veterans reunion, can you imagine the bar bill after that night? They'd give the Royal Navy a run for their money. My money's on Michael Caine as the last man standing. Highway's other awards for career are Medal number 2, the Korean Service Medal. The medal is made of bronze. The obverse shows a Korean gateway encircled by the inscription Korean Service. The reverse shows a Taeguk symbol taken from the Korean national flag and a spray of oak and laurel encircling the design. The ribbon is light blue with 2 narrow white stripes on the edge and a thicker white stripe in the middle. The Silver Service Star, also known as a campaign or battle star, denotes Highway served in 5 campaigns in the Korean War. Medal number 3, the United Nations Service Medal. This was issued to international UN forces in the conflict and was made of bronze with the clasp Korea. The obverse shows the globe emblem of the UN and the reverse is inscribed for service in defence of the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. The ribbon consists of 17 narrow stripes alternating in pale blue and white. A man must be caring and sensitive, not afraid to show his emotional side. Who left this magazine here? It wasn't mine. On with the video. Medal number 4, the National Defence Service Medal. Made of bronze, the obverse shows a bald eagle perched on a sword and palm with the words National Defence above. The reverse shows a shield of the US coat of arms as well as oak and laurel leaves. The ribbon has a yellow centre stripe flanked by narrow stripes of red, white, blue, white and red. Highway has been awarded this twice by his Bronze Star, likely for service during the Korean and Vietnam timeframe. As we shall see, the US invasion of Grenada in 1983, portrayed in the movie, was not Highway's first rodeo when it came to fighting on Caribbean islands. We'll now go into his second campaign, that is Operation Power Pack, or the US intervention in the Dominican Republic in 1965. Operation Power Pack was a US military intervention in the Dominican Republic that took place from the 28th of April 1965 until the 3rd of September 1965. The operation was initiated in response to a civil war that erupted in the Dominican Republic, with concerns about communist influence in the region during the Cold War, especially after the Cuban Revolution. 4 days before Power Pack began, on the 24th of April, leftist forces deposed the Dominican leader, President Donald Real Cabral. Fierce fighting occurred in the western suburbs of Santo Domingo, the capital, between the sides, with loyalist forces retreating to San Isidro Air Base east of the city. The US feared that the situation could lead to a communist takeover similar to Cuba, and 4 days later deployed an intervention force to the country. The primary objectives were to restore order, support the loyalist faction, and prevent the leftist constitutionalist rebels from consolidating power. The US 82nd Airborne Division initially moved in and secured key government locations, including the San Isidro Airfield, allowing US forces to establish a base of operations and tactical assembly area. In the meantime, the US Marines from the 6th Expeditionary Unit secured a series of foreign embassies in the capital and assisted the evacuation of foreign and US civilians in the city. Once the airbase was taken over, airborne units then moved up the San Isidro Highway under the cover of US F-4 Phantom jets flying from Puerto Rico and secured a position east of the Duarte Bridge. This bridge was a key location of tactical value, allowing the movement corridor from the International Security Zone set up by the Marines to the airbase. The International Security Zone set up by the Marines was intended to protect embassies and hotels and government buildings, as well as providing a neutral area where peacekeeping forces could operate. If anyone is familiar with Baghdad, the terminology very much reminds me of roughly the same setup. The BIAP, or Baghdad International Airport, Camp Victory, Route Irish, and the International Zone, aka the Green Zone. All set up from 2003. As Operation Power Pack progressed, more units of the 82nd Airborne arrived and secured the entire east bank of the Ozama River. Rebel positions across the river were then destroyed by US artillery strikes from 105mm howitzers. US soldiers then crossed the bridge and occupied a 6-block area on the western side of the Duarte Bridge. As the airborne progressed further into Santo Domingo, they were engaged in intense urban combat, conducting house-to-house searches and becoming involved in firefights with rebels. Many US casualties were caused by sniper fire, with rebels taking up firing positions in the dense urban area or laying prone on rooftops, being difficult to identify. Both sides then settled into their stronghold areas after a tenuous ceasefire was agreed. As peace negotiations continued, US forces began gradually withdrawing the US Marines, including Highway, with the majority gone by the 6th of June 1965. However, attempts at political reconciliation, interspersed with occasional isolated outbreaks of violence, kept occurring until, on the 15th of June, rebel groups, in a complex attack, attempted to expand their territories and engaged US forces. However, the airborne troops that came under fire quickly turned the engagement around and went on the offensive, inflicting severe casualties on the rebel constitutionalists, killing 67 and wounding 165 at the cost of 5 dead and 35 wounded. The Civil War formally ended on the 31st of August 1965. The operation was later transformed into an international peacekeeping mission under the Organization of American States, the AOS. Ultimately, the intervention of US forces helped to stabilize the situation, but the involvement of military and police units on both Dominican sides underscored the deep divisions within Dominican society at the time. Altogether, 9 Marines were killed, along with 18 airborne troops. Sources vary, but at least 180 US troops as well were wounded. Perhaps Highway committed an act of valour here, rescuing some foreign diplomats or US tourists to get his next award. Medal number 5, the Silver Star. A gallantry award, the Silver Star is awarded for singular acts of valour or heroism over a brief period, such as 1 or 2 days of a battle. The medal features a 5-pointed star with a laurel wreath encircling the centre. In the middle of the star there is a smaller star, which is superimposed on the larger one. The centre of the reverse side is generally blank, providing space for the recipient's name to be engraved. Around the edge it typically has the words "for gallantry in action" inscribed, emphasising the valorous nature of the award. The ribbon is composed of blue, white and red stripes. A star on the ribbon denotes a multiple award. Highway was awarded the Silver Star twice. Possibly the next time was in Vietnam, where he next sees action. Perhaps he also got wounded on Operation Powerpack and was awarded the Purple Heart, Medal number 6. Made of brass alloy, the Purple Heart is a military decoration awarded in the name of the US President to those wounded or killed while serving. The obverse is a profile of George Washington with Washington's coat of arms above. The reverse is a raised bronze heart and is written for military merit. The ribbon is purple, flanked by 2 thin white stripes. Additional awards of the Purple Heart are denoted by a gold star for the US Marines. A Silver Star denotes 5 wounds. Highway would have also likely been awarded Medal number 7, the Marine Corps Expeditionary Medal. The obverse shows a 1920s era Marine in full combat gear advancing with 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land, bayonet at the ready with the word Expedition. The reverse shows an eagle alight upon an anchor. The ribbon is a central stripe of red with 2 wider yellow stripes and 2 thin red stripes on the edges. The next medal on our list, I slightly question the award of this, considering Highway's previous bad boy behaviour and track record, but who knows, maybe he was a model soldier up until a couple of years ago. Medal number 8, the Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal. For some reason, with his taste for insubordination and conduct unbecoming, striking an officer and with propensity to urinate on cop cars, I kind of think that this is the wrong pick by the costume designers, but maybe I'm wrong. One of the oldest military awards of the US Armed Forces, the Good Conduct Medal's naval variant, was established in 1869, the Marine Corps' version in 1896. 3 years of good conduct were required to get awarded the medal. A bronze star device would denote an extra 3 years, and silver 15 years good conduct. So, with this medal, a silver star and 2 bronze stars, that would be 24 years service and good conduct, which is what is stated in the movie. Could Highway have been stripped of this due to his previous bad boy behaviour? I'm sure major powers in the movie would have loved to have done that. In the movie, it states that Highway served 3 tours of Vietnam. Considering that he was in the Dominican Republic until the middle of 1965, unless he was an early advisor, I would assume his first tour of Vietnam started late 65 or early 66. In the movie, his record also shows that whilst he was in Vietnam, he served with the 2nd Battalion, 7th Marine Regiment. In a later scene, where he has a row or argument with his ex-wife, it's also revealed he was in theatre, i.e. in Vietnam, in 1968. Part of I Corps, from July 1965 until October 1970, the battalion engaged in sustained combat operations against the North Vietnamese Army and Viet Cong, whilst operating from a variety of locations, including Chu Lai, Da Nang and Dai Loc, amongst others. As an aside, Vietnamese seems a really complex language, harder than Arabic even. I wonder how long a military linguist course would have taken prior deployment to Vietnam. Maybe there's a veteran watching now who can answer that. Going back to the timeline, we are going to place Highway on a less well-known marine operation. Operation Allen Brook. The operation took place from the 4th of May until 24th of August 1968 on Go Noi Island in Quang Nam province, about an hour and a half south of Da Nang. Again, apologies for any mispronunciations. The goal was to drive out the Viet Cong and the People's Army of Vietnam forces from the island, who were suspected of using it as a staging area for operations against Da Nang and a major supply dump. Allen Brook involved 2 companies of the 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, as well as other elements from the 1st and 5th Marine Divisions. Before the operation, the enemy operated freely throughout this territory, giving them plenty of time to prepare defences. Settlements across the island were connected to one another by a series of trenches and tunnels, which gave excellent cover and concealment. The PAVN and Viet Cong were ready to do battle with the Marines. On the 4th of May, the two companies from the 2nd Battalion 7th Marines, supported by tanks, crossed into the island, initially meeting light but consistent resistance, and then swept eastwards from the western side of the island. Intermittent contacts were made, with heavier resistance occurring in settled areas such as Pudong. A few days into the operation, the 3rd Battalion of the 7th Marines took operational control from the 2nd Battalion, reversing the direction of the attack and pushing back due west. Enemy tactics would be to use snipers to draw in the Marines into pre-planned ambush points. One such time occurred at Lenam, inflicting heavy casualties on the Marines. The Marines would also try to launch deception plans themselves to try and lure the VC out, such as even at one point feigning completing the operation, leaving the island and then suddenly returning, catching many Viet Cong and PAVN fighters unawares, culminating in intense combat at Pudong, where they encountered an entire PVAN battalion. Over 130 enemy dead were reported at a loss of 25 Marines and 38 wounded. This was a slow grind. Each settlement had to be continually searched for weapons, supply caches, and with the continual threat of sniping, booby traps and ambushes. However, with their renowned grit and determination, the Marines pressed on. After each contact with the enemy, they regrouped, evacuated their casualties, and then moved forward in the heat and humidity. Of note was the elephant grass, which had long, slender palms of razor-sharp edges which cut through skin as men pushed through the foliage. This thick, impenetrable elephant grass was also excellent cover for enemy forces. In the operation, the Marines uncovered a regimental headquarters at Pudong. The island essentially acted as a supply dump and a major staging area for insurgents preparing to attack Da Nang. The operation was a success, but the price was heavy. By the end of May, the Marines had suffered 138 dead and over 600 wounded. In contrast, the enemy suffered 600 at least dead. Throughout June and July, the Marines continued search and clear operations, facing frequent ambushes and intense battles. Land clearing operations continued into August, and the operation was finally concluded after significant infrastructure destruction and reduced enemy activity. Although the two companies of the 2nd Battalion were relieved by other US elements during the operation, we can imagine Highway desperate to remain in the thick of it. Or, even worse, returning to base and raising hell with the rear echelon supply officers for not providing enough 50 cal ammunition, or his latest edition of Cosmopolitan magazine with its crucial intel on women's fashion, horoscopes and agony aunt advice. Maybe Highway earned medal number 9 here, the Bronze Star. The Bronze Star is a decoration awarded to members of the US forces for either heroic achievement, heroic service, meritorious achievement or meritorious service in a combat zone. Civilians serving with the US military forces in combat are also eligible for the award. The medal is a bronze 5-pointed star with a plain obverse showing a superimposed bronze star. The reverse bears the inscription Heroic or Meritorious Achievement, with a space for the name of the recipient to be engraved. The ribbon is red edged with white with a narrow blue stripe edged with white in the centre. For the US Marines, a star is added for additional awards. Highway has been awarded the Bronze Star 3 times, with 2 bronze stars on his original medal. Medal 10, the Vietnam Gallantry Cross. Created in 1950 by the South Vietnamese government, this was awarded to all military personnel and armed forces in recognition of deeds of valour or heroic conduct whilst in combat with the enemy. The obverse consists of a cross with 2 cross swords between the arms. The cross is superimposed over a wreath. The centre of the cross contains a disc with the outline of the country of Vietnam between 2 palm branches joined at the bottom. A scroll is on top of the map and is written in Vietnamese, Reward of the State. The ribbon is Old Glory red and golden yellow. The central golden yellow stripe is interspersed with 16 strands of red. The US military began authorising the award of the cross from March 1968, retroactive to 1961. Don't be like Gunny Highway this holiday season and purchase girly fashion magazines to fill your Christmas stocking. Instead, consider buying a more macho Clasps of Courage book. Learn about the British Raj, over 20 long forgotten, and I mean forgotten military campaigns, such as Britain's conflicts in Bhutan, the Northwest Frontier, Persia, a Victorian Vietnam campaign in Burma, and not to mention learning about the fascinating and striking India General Service Medal of 1854, in addition to elite regiments and fascinating enemies of British India. Buy it now and help support the channel. Thank you very much. The Amazon link is in the main channel description. Back to Gunny's medals. Medal number 11, the Vietnam Service Medal. This was a military award established in 1965 by order of President Johnson. The medal is awarded to recognise service during the Vietnam War by all members of the US Armed Forces. The obverse shows a figure of a dragon behind a grove of bamboo trees above the inscription Republic of Vietnam Service. On the reverse, a crossbow representing the ancient weapon of Vietnam faces upwards with a ready-to-be-fired lighted torch of the Statue of Liberty above an arched inscription United States of America. The ribbon is yellow with 3 red stripes and 2 green stripes on the edges. Highway has a silver service star. This denotes involvement in 5 campaigns or periods of service during the conflict, one possibly being Operation Allen Brook. Medal number 12, the Vietnam Campaign Medal. The Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal is a South Vietnamese award which was created in 1949 and awarded to US and Allied service members for support of operations in Vietnam. Laws permitted US military personnel to accept the Medal for Service performed in Vietnam from the 1st of March 1961 until the 28th of March 1973 inclusive. It's made of gold-coloured metal in the shape of a 6-pointed white enamelled star with 6-pointed gold rays between the arms of the star. In the centre of the star is a green-coloured disc bearing a gold-coloured map of Vietnam with 3 painted flames in red between North and South Vietnam, signifying the 3 regions of Vietnam. The ribbon is green with 3 vertical white stripes. Medal 13, Expeditionary Medal. This medal is awarded to members of the US Armed Forces after July 1958 who participated in US military operations in direct support of the United Nations or US operations of assistance for friendly foreign nations. The obverse consists of an eagle standing on a sword loosened in its scabbard, imposed on a compass. Forces above and expeditionary service are engraved below, with a spring of laurel on each side. On the reverse of the medal is a shield from the United States coat of arms above 2 laurel branches, separated by a bullet, with the United States of America engraved around the upper edges. The ribbon is a combination of red, white, blue, light blue, black, brown, yellow and green, which looks like it represents all potential global theatres of operation. Okay, we're nearly there. Medal number 14, the US Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal for Valour with V device. This is awarded for heroic or meritorious achievement or service. The medal is bronze and hexagonal in shape. The obverse shows an eagle clutching 3 arrows in its talons. The reverse says, for military merit, with a space for the recipient's name to be inscribed and a laurel branch below. The ribbon is green with 2 white stripes. A bronze V device is worn by Navy and Marine Corps personnel who denote valour. Finally, and we got there, Medal 15, the US Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal for Valour with V device. The medal is presented for meritorious achievement or service. A bronze V device is worn by Navy and Marine Corps to denote personal valour. Made of bronze, the obverse shows a fouled anchor surrounded by 4 5-pointed stars. The ribbon is green with 2 orange stripes. So, in summary, we have a Medal of Honour, a Silver Star with Gold Star, so 2 awards of the Silver Star, a Bronze Star with a further 2 stars, so it was awarded 3 times to Gunnery Highway, a Purple Heart with 2 stars, so he was wounded 3 times, a US Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal for Valour with V device, a US Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal for Valour with V device, a US Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal with 1 Silver Star for 15 years and 2 Bronze Stars for 6, plus the original medal for 3, so that's 24 years in total, a US Marine Corps Expeditionary Medal, a National Defence Service Medal, which was awarded twice, likely for Korea and Vietnam, shown by the star, the Korean Service Medal, Expeditionary Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Gallantry Cross, UN Service Medal for Korea, and the Vietnam Campaign Medal. We also have some ribbons. We have a Combat Action Ribbon, a Navy Unit Commendation Ribbon, a Presidential Unit Citation, a Republic of Korea Presidential Citation, and finally a Sea Service Ribbon with Star. Whew! Thanks for watching. Remember, adapt, improvise and overcome. I hope you found some value from this, and I'll see you in the next one.